Welcome back folks, my name is LastKnownMeal and today we're gonna be talking about the Chronicles of Myrtana Archolos. So this is a new mod which came out for Gothic 2, the Gold Edition, and I can't even say that this is a mod, this is a whole new game which has been in development for the past 4 years, and I have been following this for a very long time, just waiting when this is coming out, and it finally arrived, and I've had a lot of fun with this. And for every Gothic fan out there that was waiting for something new when it came to Gothic, you won't find anything closer than this, because the Archolos mod, or a new game in its sense, is one of the best mods I have played in a very long time, and it almost feels like Piranha Bytes just came out with their new game because it's so well done. And I'm gonna be going through every aspect of the game, going from the story to characters to gameplay, RPG, and everything else, so stay tuned, and without further wasting your time, let's get into this. So first things first, let's talk about the core mod itself. So the mod has been in development for 4 years. It shows an entirely new story where you as Marvin come to a new island of Archolos, and what's important is that from the lore perspective, everything in this game has been fully respected to the original lore, so you won't have things which are going to be off canon or things which never happened appear here. So basically everything which has happened in the history of the game through the lore has been master crafted in this mod itself, so basically showing everything which is true to the lore. From that standpoint, they completely respected all of the material Piranha Bytes actually came out when it came to this game. So the story itself starts off where you as Marvin arrive to Archolos with your brother and other crewmates running from war from your homeland. And here you have to kinda create your new life, and keep in mind, people on the island, a lot of them don't like that you have arrived because they don't like really refugees on their island. Because of that war, the island is suffering a lot because they cannot trade with other parts of the continent, so they kind of have to do it amongst themselves. So obviously having more people arrive at your island is definitely not good. So from that standpoint, the story starts off slow. I'm gonna be avoiding spoilers because obviously, you know, for obvious reasons. So the story starts off slow, as it was in any Gothic game. You kind of just have to find, you know, your bearings. You have to find a good weapon, you have to find a good piece of armor. You're gonna be working with people in the village at the beginning so you can help them out, so you can make some gold. And as slowly as the game progresses and things, you know, start opening up, also the story starts opening up. So from that standpoint, from the story standpoint, it has been really well written, to the point where I wasn't even sure, like, am I playing a new release from Piranha Bytes, because that's how well it was written. And I knew from the first moment that I entered this mod, from like the first intro sequence, where you have a bunch of things to do and you have so many hidden things you can find and loot and talk to, so you can unlock certain things. I knew from then that the game is gonna be insanely well done, and I was right, because everything in this game from the beginning starts to make sense. It opens up slowly, it doesn't push you too far, but keep in mind the difficulty of Gothic is still here, so if you wander off too far from like the main road, or you enter the forest unprepared, you are going to kind of die, because there is going to be a lot of dangerous monsters around. But also at the same time, the game places like those normal beginner monsters very well into the game, because, you know, it has to push you in a certain direction, so it does that well, and it's not particularly difficult to the point where it's going to be frustrating. It just has that, you know, classic Gothic difficulty, especially at the beginning where you don't have much gear or proper armor. You're gonna be dying a lot, so it's important to save also. But nevertheless, as I said, to go back to the story, it's really well written, and it's supplemented really well with Polish voice acting. So once you download the mod, you actually have to download the DLC, which is the Polish voiceover acting localization. It's translated in English, so you don't have to worry, only the voiceover is in Polish, and it's done really well. They have a bunch of like amazing actors from Poland, if I'm not wrong. I don't know their names, but they're actually doing a great job of portraying emotions, of portraying characters. So even like, let's say Polish is not my native language, and for a lot of you who are going to be playing this mod, it's not going to be as well, it still doesn't create any obstacles because it's so well done and it's translated well without, you know, I think without any mistakes. So you will be immersing yourself into the story very well. It's not going to be a problem on that side, and it's much better to actually download a voiceover than, you know, just having a mod where you won't have any voice coming out from any characters. That can be a little, you know, the voiceover is definitely what elevates this mod even more and makes it into just a standalone game that you can play whenever. Especially if you are a huge Gothic fan, like this is a must. So without going too far into the spoilers, the story is just amazing and you can shape your character how you want it. That's one of the biggest pluses that this game has, and it's even more open than the original Gothic because you as Marvin, you're kind of a blank slate in a sense, so you have to decide like what is your future going to be. So sometimes you're going to be met with certain decisions which might be morally bad or morally good, and then, you know, you have to weigh in your options here and how are you going to benefit from all of that, because at the end of the day you just have to survive as a character. So from that standpoint, they have a really nice balance of things you can decide on and things which kind of lead your character into a different direction. That's one of the strongest suits of this game. That's that RPG segment which had to be respected from the original game, and it's still kind of similar to how you would progress in Gothic 1. There are still things, you know, joining factions, etc, or don't, which will push the story forward, but you have to decide obviously which faction is gonna be the one that you want to join. So when it comes to those RPG segments, obviously like the game is just doing a wonderful job. Also when it comes to everything else, obviously in the Gothic fashion you have trainers for your weapons, you have trainers for your strength, dexterity, and, you know, pretty much everything else. You can find books along the way which, you know, you can learn lockpicking, sneaking, pickpocketing, etc. So all of those skills are gonna be useful to you for your character, and they're gonna be also useful for the story itself, because it kind of works really well in that balance of learning new skills and then implementing those new skills in those missions and the story, which is going to unlock more stuff. So from that standpoint, it's a very classic Gothic experience. Now generally when it comes to levels, they arrive actually relatively fast. You have enough points at the beginning to kind of see like which direction your character you want to go in, but at the same time, one of the things which I really like is how they elevated the RPG perspective from other things. So you are able to now craft various things. They expanded on so many like skills, from smithing to cooking to alchemy to just now making your own bow making, along with making arrows. And for example, like weapons, now you have a whole new menu when it comes to weapons and how you craft weapons and which part of the like the materials will go into a weapon and how you learn those skills. It's a lot more streamlined now, because you will need more logical resources to craft a sword, and at the same time you can actually talk to a blacksmith and you will be able to buy like different recipes for you being able to create that. So at start you learn blacksmithing and then you just buy different recipes for you to do. You don't have to technically learn those recipes like you would in the original Gothic game. And that also comes with cooking. Like they have so many meals, so many options you can work with, and it's just mind-blowing how much they have expanded on the original formula. And for all of the Gothic purists, this is gonna be nice, because they don't try to reinvent the wheel, they don't try to make Gothic into something which is not. They just basically took what was the original formula and they expanded and built up on it, which is definitely a must. So again, if you're a purist when it comes to Gothic, like, you have to play this is a must. And it all works really well. It doesn't make your character too overpowered, it doesn't make your character too weak, so overall it helps. And now, like for example, heavy branches, they're gonna be more useful because you're gonna be using that heavy branch to create arrows and bolts and everything. So again, everything kind of works well in its sense because it has been upped from the original game. Besides that, in the city, in the village, you have bounty posters, arenas, hunting, gathering resources, gathering wood. Yes, you can even do that. You can actually take an axe and you will find some tree stumps along the way. You can actually do it to get more wood. So they have all of these new mechanics which they have implemented in the game, which actually help with your character creation. Now, when it comes to the map itself, the map is much bigger than I expected it is. Like, I'm gonna be showing you a map here for a quick second. Map is also a very important thing in Gothic. If you haven't played it before, you don't get a map at the beginning. You don't even have any mini-map whatsoever, so you have to buy a map in order to actually know where you are going. And yeah, I would definitely recommend, if you have 100 gold, I believe it's 100 gold, in the first village you can actually buy a map, which is something I definitely recommend because there are many nooks and crannies you can actually miss if you don't have a map. So the map itself, it actually has a very decently sized map. The story and everything else can be done in about 60 hours, which is a lot for a mod itself. So like the map, when it comes to level design and just the scope of the map along with the other like environmental design, is superb. It's done really well. It's beautiful. This map is absolutely gorgeous because it has many different areas you can experience. It's just everything feels alive, everything feels well because you're gonna have villagers and soldiers going around doing their own thing. It's very alive. This mod makes everything more alive than a lot of games which come out today, and it's insane. It's absolutely insane when you look at just the quality and the beauty of this, because you can see like how much time they needed to create something like this and how much thought went into creating something like this, because at the same time showing you its beauty, the game also gives you various paths and little bumps and little hills you can visit, because around every hill, around every nook and cranny, you're gonna be finding stuff which is the staple of Piranha Bytes games. It's a staple of actually world exploration and you being rewarded for that exploration, and that's definitely one of the strongest suits of this mod. Is just, besides everything else, it's exploration, because you never know when you're going to find a piece of armor, when you're going to find a sword or something else which is going to be extremely useful for your character. So obviously exploration is definitely recommended and it will help you out a lot with this game and with equipment you get along the way. They also added a bunch of random events in this game, so as you're exploring, you're gonna be encountering wolves, bandits, and a lot of stuff which is gonna be happening randomly around you, which can be sometimes difficult because you're gonna be returning to the city or to the village with a very little HP and you don't have a good sword, and then you're gonna be surrounded by bandits, so you kind of have to work your way around it. So sometimes those encounters help, sometimes they don't, but they're definitely amazing because it feels the world more alive. Because for example in Gothic, once you kill a monster, unless you change a chapter, that monster won't be replaced. So you know, like, okay, clean this area, it's gonna be clean forever, I don't have to worry about getting attacked. But in this game it's different, because you might let's say destroy 2 wolves in one part of the forest, you're gonna go somewhere, you're going to return, and let's say you're gonna have 1 new wolf or 2 more wolves, or you're gonna have a rat or something which has replaced that monster. So there is always something new to fight, which in my opinion is much better than having like a limited amount of mobs which are in the game, and you know, like, they're not going to reappear unless you progress in a new chapter, which is not the case in this game. But even if you progress in chapter, when it comes to this game, it's still going to add new monsters and replace some from before. So from that standpoint, it does a very similar thing to what Gothic was originally doing, but at the same time adding new encounters which can actually elevate that game and help you along the way. And also everything else is supplemented with new music. I do believe they have created their own soundtrack for this, so it's just, it captures the original and it also elevates it to a whole different level. So this entire mod is basically that. They have taken everything from the original and they just elevated it and kept what the original games and the original stories were trying to say and how they were trying to say it. So from like just the RPG perspective, this is absolutely well done. It's one of the best RPGs I have played in a very long time. Honestly, this is one of the best games I have played in 2021, and this is a mod. This is not even like an official full release, as you would say, but this feels more like an official full release than a lot of games which come out today, and it's insane. So yeah, I definitely recommend this. I think it's absolutely amazing. I will be making one more video about the story, but that's when, you know, when everyone plays it, and I want to avoid spoilers as much as I can, also avoiding to show you like end game gameplay or something like that. So I'm just gonna be showing you some things. Overall, it's absolutely well done. It just feels like a whole new game, and it's a must play for everyone, not just the Gothic fans but also the fans of RPGs and games in general, because they managed to create something which I haven't seen in a very long time, and that is to create a game with so much passion and love and so many details that it radiates passion and love as soon as you jump into it, because everything is done with absolute care. So as I said, just great. So my message to the mod creators, to developers, is that if you ever decide to make another game with this team and you decide to make an RPG or whatever, I will be playing this, because if these people can create this as a mod, I can't even imagine what they're able to create if they decided to make a full release of a game and to create an RPG in the future. This would definitely be something I would play. So yeah, thank you everyone for watching. This was my Archolos review. Tell me down below, did you like this? Did you dislike it after you played it? But yeah, it's hard to dislike this, because I haven't found a single problem with this yet, and it just plays really well, and it doesn't crash, especially now after that Gothic 2 update. Like, the game is stable and it's running really well. So yeah, this is a huge plus. This is a huge win for the modding community. This is a huge win for Gothic community, and yeah, Gothic is back. And it's gonna be interesting to see if Piranha Bytes says actually something about this, because they have to. Like, this is superb. This is absolutely superb. So yeah, thank you again for watching. Smash that like and subscribe button for more. Don't forget to check us out on Twitter and Discord, and also I do have a Patreon page, and thank you all of my Patreon supporters for actually you know, supporting me through all of these months. Thank you so much, and I will see you everyone in the next one. Bye bye.